It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, you all knew that I'd probably have a coronavirus episode of the end of the day with Ray, and this is that episode. And my friends, I'm not going to talk about whether the virus is fake. I'm not going to talk about whether or not it's just not a reality and we shouldn't worry about it and everything will be just fine. What I'm going to talk about is what the implications of the coronavirus and how those implications are affecting the B2B business space. And for those that don't believe it's affecting the B2B business place, well, you probably should just go back on Facebook and talk about how everything's just not real. But here's the reality, my friends. The coronavirus has expedited the realities to a market shift. And that market shift is where buyers and sellers meet each other more and more in the intersection between the digital and physical world. The coronavirus has created an expedient path to the future of commerce. So now I want to talk about how the imaging channel, my friends in the imaging channel, it doesn't really matter what your B2B business is. I just happen to understand the imaging channel quite well, regardless of what most of the industry analysts will tell you. I do get it right most of the time. But my friends, here's what I want you all to think about. I want you to think about this. Repetitive learning is a procrastinator's journey. And what I ask all of my friends in the imaging channel today, I ask them one question. Well, I'm going to show them a picture first. It's time to empty the damn classrooms where we continue to learn things we already know. And if we don't already know it, we probably ought to sell our business. It just mind boggles the hell out of me that we're filling up classrooms to learn about MPS in the year 2020 when MPS is a 20-year-old program. It boggles my mind. It boggles my mind when we think we're innovative because we can lease with pass-through dollars and calling it something different makes us innovative. It boggles my mind that we're filling up classrooms talking about the same shit we've been talking about for 20 years and we're not moving the needle on our business. And it's something to think about because you know what? There's a whole lot more important things for us to be learning. And I'm gonna have fun with my board today, but you know, Ben Franklin says it like this: you may delay, but time will not. You may delay, but time will not. And what the coronavirus is teaching us is that there's a fast, rapid movement to guess what? People going home, people staying home, people working from home, and people buying from home. That's where we're going, my friends. And we just got expedited. That journey just got expedited because of the coronavirus. So let's see what I got up here next. Customers. Our customers right now are asking themselves questions. And those questions they're asking themselves is, how do I do what I was doing at the office at home? How do I do what I'm supposed to do in the convenience of my home? Who's going to help me do that? And the customers are asking that. Well, sellers, are you ready for your customers who branch off in the way they buy? Because they're going to branch off. I mean, I just showed you the slide. They're questioning, how can they do things? How could I do things from my home so that I don't lose revenue from my business? Folks, I don't think we're near ready. I don't think we're near ready. And here's why I don't think we're ready. So I want you all to know that on LinkedIn, those that know me, there's about 150, 170 articles that I've written over the years. I'm going to focus on about 5 articles that I had written in the last 2 years. And those articles are going to describe deliverables that would be so beneficial in today's world if people actually did them, if people actually paid attention back then. But I want to start with this article because this article I wrote about culture. And this article is defining culture as, you know, you got to avoid conformity and complacency as you build your corporate culture. And unfortunately, there's a whole lot of corporations out there that have built culture around conformity and comfort. They didn't build a culture to go disrupt the market. In other words, I always say, if you can't disrupt yourself, how in the hell are you ever going to disrupt the market? And this is the time we need to look at our corporate cultures. Are those corporate cultures designed to help our end users improve the way they do business? Or are those corporate cultures designed that we all feel good, we have playgrounds and putting greens in the break room and TV sets all over the place and couches everywhere, and you know, we don't want to bring anybody in that doesn't conform to make everybody feeling good. Folks, I got to tell you something. When somebody tells me, well, that person didn't fit in our culture, the only reason that person shouldn't have fit in your culture is because they were a felon or a crook. But unfortunately, there's a lot of corporations out there that say that person didn't fit in their culture because, well, they were disruptive. They would be hard to manage. That person will cause us a lot of pain, ask a lot of questions. Could you imagine? That's reality. That's what we've done. And then I want to show you some other articles, my friends. Here's 4. First, let me talk about this. I wrote this. I called it Temporary Growth. This article was back in 2016 in July. This article talks about buying the same thing that you own now, and what you own and what you bought is declining. In other words, we're running around buying up printers and copiers from other printer and copier companies. We add it to our portfolio, and the revenue from all those serial numbers is in constant decline. Well, guess what? Because you started doing this, 3 years ago when I talked about this, there's very little diversification. Very few of these companies have an e-commerce platform. So guess what's going to happen? All that stuff you kept buying, well, when everybody moves home, when business shuts down for a period of time, volumes are going to go on more equipment and more equipment. And temporary growth is great if you diversify, if you figure out how you're going to add to the deliverable. What are you going to do different? But when you're unprepared, when you're not ready for the changes in the market, all that stuff you bought, well, it's going to collapse just a whole lot faster. It's going to be sad for some people, unfortunately. I want to talk about these other articles I wrote. There's 4 of them, my friends. This one here, I used my old dog, Buddy. I clicked and I didn't see you. Where I talked about the need to get on e-commerce, that was in December of 2018. Where I talked about how your customers are looking for you in that digital intersection between the physical and digital world, but they don't find you there because you refuse. You refuse to set up shop. This is a great article. Why should Amazon have all the fun? I wrote an article about the home office. In this article, I actually gave a description of what a dealer could do and should be doing to prepare themselves for the home office. I wrote that article in July of 2017, almost 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I gave you the roadmap. Very few of you listened. I told you to go to your contacts in your enterprise space and ask those customers, hey, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, what's your plan to shift from office workers to home workers? What's your plan when workers have to work at home, maybe because of an emergency or disaster? All in the article 3 years ago. Can you imagine if dealers actually prepared for that today? Well, guess what? They'd be ready for those workers that are going to go home by the thousands, maybe the millions. I talked about the pull economy is just a click away. My friends, you know what the pull economy is? I talk about it enough. Those that follow me know what it is. That's where customers can pull products to them. They can pull them to them. They don't need the old way pushing stuff to them. That's what the imaging channel does. They push stuff to them. If your organization or your business is dependent on pushing products to your customers, you better figure out a way to get your customers to pull those products to them. And don't just throw your hands up in the air and say, but we do all these services. They can't do that online. That's bullshit. There's a way to live in both worlds. Jeff Bezos done quite well at it. And as a matter of fact, back when I wrote that article, someone even mentioned, man, you just told Jeff Bezos how to defeat the imaging channel. Well, I'm sure Jeff Bezos was way ahead of me on that. Jeff Bezos is more than in position to take all those home workers that your companies are going to shift to their homes, and more than happy to take care of them. He's got the cloud services. He's got relationships with every manufacturer in the world. And guess what? He's got the fortitude. He's got the fortitude to deliver customers things the way they want them. Pretty scary stuff. But folks, the point of all this is we're not preparing ourselves because we still continue to fill up classrooms trying to learn what we already know. And we got to stop it. We got to stop the silliness, and we got to learn how to grow our business in the direction that the market's going. And whether this coronavirus is as bad as people say, nobody really knows. But one thing we all know for sure, my friends, status quo is the killer of all that will be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo. Have a great day. I'll see you all tomorrow.